Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everyone. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you being here. Today, we are getting into this Australian 24-hour CR1M. This is a big-ass ration. We are going to go through and do the contents list first, and then we are going to organize this into breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is what I'm going to eat for the entire day. This is going to be a lot of food. So let's crack into this thing. I'm real excited about this. I've wanted to try one of these forever. I finally got my hands on one. It's in date. I'm going to love it. You're going to love it. We're going to love it. There's going to be some, not that. Sorry guys, I'm just really excited. So let's crack into this and see what is on the menu. Good God almighty, I've been waiting for this for a long time. All right. We're definitely going to need to make some room. This thing is chock full of goodness. Oh, that's nice. Yes. This is like ration sex. I'm telling you right now, this is amazing. So I'm going to slide this chunky boy over here. And we're just going to go through it one at a time. Really, right out of the gate, it gets me with the tuna chunks. What the hell? All right. Sorry, guys. So we have 85 grams of tuna chunks, sun-dried tomato and herb. That ought to be okay. Pretty decent. What do we have next? Protein drink coffee flavor. I don't quite know how to feel about that. Should I feel happy about that because it's coffee flavor? We're just gonna have to check this out. So we have a coffee flavored protein drink powder. That's very interesting. We have an isotonic drink powder, lemon lime. It's feeling a little chunky in there. So we have isotonic drink powder. Instant mashed potatoes. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Multigrain bread. Dig it. I'm down with some bread. We have another isotonic drink powder that is chunky. This thing is just like one big block. This has definitely been subjected to either some extreme heat or some moisture, but inside of this packet, I wouldn't see moisture being an issue. This thing probably just got really hot. So, a second isotonic drink powder. Lifesavers Musk. I don't know about in Australia, but here, musk is generally something that you... Never mind. So, we have some Lifesavers Musk flavor. We have some M&Ms. That's pretty cool. We have a chocolate bar. Chocolate ration, 50 grams. Very nice. I'm going to run out of room. Looks like we have some TP. Clean butt is a good butt. We always like TP. We have a biscuit jam sandwich. That's what I'm talking about. Can you guys tell I'm excited about this ration? I'm pretty excited about this ration. Apricot jam. Loving it. Apricot jam. We have an accessory pack. We'll do that in a minute. We have the sweetened condensed milk, which is epic. That's 50 grams of sweetened condensed. I've been waiting to get my hands on one of these toothpaste tubes of sweetened condensed milk forever. That's amazing. Super excited about that. We have a Jack Link's teriyaki steak bar. Not so exciting, but pretty good. We have some matches with your striker on the outside. That is pretty cool right there. Looks like we have some standard matches and a few windproof, waterproof matches. That is a really great concept, especially for a 24-hour or for any ration. That is an excellent piece of kit. We have an all fruit bar raspberry at 40 grams. Very nice. Ooh, natural muesli, fruit and seeds. Check that out. Awesome. We have some hearty beef stew. That's a 250 gram main. We're going to have to make some room. we have hiding in here? We have a Ziploc bag for waste and other items. What is that? Chocolate chip cake. What is that? Lamb and tomato sambal. 250 grams. No clue what that is. No clue what sambal is, but I'm going to find out. Product of New Zealand. That is excellent. That sounds like it might go good with mashed potatoes. I'm just saying. And we have some cream cracker biscuits. They feel more like cream crumbs, but you know, I imagine this thing had a hard journey from Australia to here. Whole grain cereal bar with fruit and chia seeds. Very nice. We have, that is one heck of a spoon. That is a really weird shape, but that is one heck of a spoon right there. That is awesome sauce. Bit of a shovel, but you know, hey. And we have creamer. That's excellent. That must mean there's coffee somewhere. Thank you, Australia. What is that? Is that a little baby can of cheese? Yes, Bika processed cheddar cheese, 56 grams. That is a tiny little can of cheese, but I'm gonna love every last little drop of it. That's amazing. And we have a contents sheet. Let's get in this accessory pack. I hear my Fred rattling around in there. Frankly ridiculous eating device. That's awesome. This is gonna be my first ever Fred. So we have some Mentos candy. We have 2 of those guys. We have some Tabasco sauce. I am totally running out of room over here. This is awesome. We have some instant coffee. Coffee is good to go with that creamer. We have some hand sanitizing wet wipes. They're always nice. We have another instant coffee, which is awesome. We have 2 tea bags. We have some sugar. Definitely going to need that. We have some rubber bands. Always helpful. You have a scouring pad, which seems to have some soap already applied to it. That's really, really a great idea. We have another pack of sugar. Some tomato ketchup. I'll tell you what, this is a pretty comprehensive ration. This is amazing. More rubber bands. We have some pepper. We have 2 packs of salt. We have our Fred, or frankly ridiculous eating device. I'm pretty happy just to get one of these, even though it seems to be a little wonky. It's got a little corrosion on the coating or something like that. Whatever. I don't plan on, well, I'm going to use it to open up this little can of Bika. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll just stick Fred up there. We'll get back to you later. And the Vegemite. B vitamins for vitality. I have never, ever had Vegemite, so this ought to be a lot of fun. Well, guys, that is a metric shit ton of food. That is amazing. This is a comprehensive ration. I'm going to have to take a minute and decide exactly what it is I'm going to have for breakfast. I really don't know. Part of me wants to have some lunch-style food for breakfast, but I don't know. I'm just going to dig into this thing. I'm going to put a tray of breakfast together, and I'll be right back. Did I mention I was really excited about this Australian ration? All right, guys, there was a whole lot of options. This is what I picked for breakfast. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm just going to roll with it. We've got drinks, we've got crackers, we've got sweetened condensed milk, apricot jam, coffee, tea, cream, whole grain cereal bar. We're going to throw some beef in there just for fun. This is looking nice. Let's start making this stuff up. First thing we're going to do is hydrate this natural muesli with fruits and seeds. We're going to get this mixed up. We're going to do this hot. Have a little breakfast muesli going on. I'm going to do it right here in the tray. Look at that. Before I even add the water to that, we got some pumpkin seeds floating around in there. Definitely have some dried fruits, some oats, This is looking pretty healthy. I am totally digging it. That looks great. I don't want to overdo it on the hot water too much. I don't want to make it like soup. But we are definitely going to try to get it as evenly hydrated as possible. Doing it in a tray here. Of course, I made a mess out of the tray, but that is my MO. If there's a mess to be made, I am your man. We're going to make that mess together. Let's give that a little mix up. Now, it does say on the package that condensed milk, creamer, and sugar can be added to taste. I am hoping this doesn't need a lot of sugar because there were only 2 sugar packs in this ration. So for me, that's like 1 sugar pack per coffee. So there were 2 isotonic drink powders. One is tropical and one is lemon lime. Lemon lime is usually my favorite flavor. So we're going to start with tropical. And that smells pretty amazing, to be honest with you. That has definitely been heat stressed. Take a look at that. Nice and chunky in there. It looks kind of like a hot mess floating around in there, but we'll get over it. So let's check out that coffee. Everything does have a nice pronounced tear notch in it, which is really nice. You're not like fishing your knife out to cut everything open. And that looks like a freeze-dried coffee. Not very dark. Hopefully it will prove me wrong and be a nice bold cup of coffee, but we shall see. And we have one of these tea bags. That's nice. That's a foil lined package. And that's a good smelling tea bag. Alright, let's check this out. Let's let that tea steep for a moment or 10. Let's get that coffee mixed up. That is actually a nice dark looking coffee. I am very hopeful. Let's get a little bit of that creamer in there. So I'm glad they gave you the rubber bands, because you'd certainly need it if you're going to save your creamer for 2 different coffees throughout the day. And maybe just a dash in there, why not? We will definitely save the rest of that for our second cup of coffee. Lunchtime coffee, dinner time coffee, anytime coffee. That's nice. Look at that. Look at that. That's fine sugar right there. They do give you 14 grams, so I can't really hate on them for not giving you enough sugar, but with all these coffees, if you like your coffee sweet, you're a little out of luck, unless you're going to use up that sweetened condensed milk in there. I just got to go right for a sip of this coffee. That smells pretty good. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's a good strong cup of coffee. Right off the bat. Australia doing it right. With some epic coffee. That's great. That is really good ration coffee. I gotta hand it to them. Let's check out this biscuit jam sandwich. One thing I can say, they definitely give you a lot of dessert items in this ration, which is pretty cool. Look at that. It's like a jelly-filled cookie. Oh, it's got a little heart on there. Oh, and this one's got a star. Isn't that nice? I feel like we're doing Care Bears. Check that out. A nice little cute little heart on there. Like, oh, love you guys. That's so nice. Look at those guys. They're so cute. And we have this biscuit cream crackers. And as I suspected, they're pretty bashed up. That's alright though. We'll still give them a day in court. A good looking cereal bar there. It's kind of like just a condensed version of the rest of breakfast, but not too shabby looking. I like it. Grab this Jack Link out of here. Smells just like a Jack Link should. And we are going to pop the top on our sweetened condensed milk. I'm actually really excited to do this. This is just freaking great. Oh, so satisfying. I just got to get a little bit of that by itself. I've been waiting for one of these forever. Well, this ration isn't that heat stressed, and it's also Certainly well within date. That's a nice creamy colored, sweetened condensed. Hasn't oxidized or turned dark. That is excellent sweetened condensed milk. That's amazing. That's great stuff. We're going to have just a little bit with our breakfast muesli here. We're going to drizzle that on. We're going to make a little sweetened condensed milk art on this muesli. Yes. I tell you, this is totally like ration sex for me right now. This is the best. Let's see if we can't get this tropical drink to come back to life. There are definitely some floaties going on in here. I'm going to give it a pass. Australia can be really hot. I'm sure this thing has definitely been heat stressed, but that's okay. The only item in here so far that's had anything wrong with it at all is a little bit of chunky drink pack. So, yeah, who cares? Let's give that a taste. It smells amazing. Oh, that is super sweet. I feel like a really sweet mango, papaya, light citrus. Super sweet. In the best way possible, though. Really, really amazing taste, and I can't get enough of that. That's good. Let's check out that tea. And that's a pretty standard black tea. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to try out one of these cream crackers. I'm really interested to see. They kind of just look like a standard cracker. I'm wondering if there's something sweet about them. There's nothing sweet about it. It's just a regular flour cracker. Not bad. As you can see, a little flaky. Not very tough. Got beat up, but not a bad cracker at all. I'm going to check out a bite of this muesli. This is looking good. Nice and thick. Got a little bit of sweet and condensed on there. I saw it'll be a pretty amazing bite. Check that out. That's really good. So, you definitely have oats, pumpkin seeds, a bunch of different dried fruit in here, some raisins. This looks like sultanas. It's really good. Some very small pieces of papaya, it looks like. This is good. This is actually really good. I'd like to get it a little bit sweeter, but I'm really trying to save the rest of that sweet and condensed. But that is a really good bite. The fruit in this is amazing. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to eat it. So this is pretty good. This is really good. Mrs. Ration Nerd's not going to love me because every time I eat oats in any great quantity, well, let's just put it to you this way. My backside gets pretty noisy. So, down the hatch, giggle, giggle. That is really good. This is such a refreshing change from some of the bad rations I've had recently. God, if the rest of this ration goes like this, the video will be boring. I'll have nothing to complain about. That muesli was absolutely amazing. Let's break out a little bit of this apricot jam. I didn't even want to get to anything else. I just wanted to shovel that in my face. That was excellent. A little bit watery, separated just a little bit. Not too bad. Let's give that a try. Even on these plain crackers, that apricot jam is amazing. That's good stuff. I can only imagine if you have better crackers or biscuits to go with this apricot jam, it'd be even better. But on these really plain, kind of saltine-esque crackers, even still, this apricot jam is awesome. That apricot jam is actually really good. So let's check out this granola bar. Looks pretty good. It's ever just so slightly sticky. Let's get a taste of that. That is really good. That is very chewy, very sweet. Has a very pronounced fruit taste. It's a lot like apples and strawberries and some raspberry in there. This thing is really good. Like, Australians are doing it right. This bar is pretty amazing. I'll be back as soon as I'm finished just like stuffing this all in my face hole. And just to give us a little something savory to go with breakfast, we got this Jack Link here, which I thought would break in half. Not so much. But lots of us know what a Jack Link looks like. You can go to just about any store and grab one, but hey, this one's definitely sweet, smoky. It's got a nice chew. A little firmer than I'm accustomed to a Jack Link being. I wonder if they were made this way, or if they just imported them as is. But it is kind of nice that it's chewier than a standard Jack Link. It's nowhere near as chewy as beef jerky, but it certainly gives you something to do. This will be a great item to take with you on the move. Breakfast has been a very sweet affair. I'm going to have to buy stock in insulin after this ration, but that's okay. And you know, I got to break your heart. I mean, I got to eat this cookie because this thing is just looking pretty fabulous. This jam biscuit, that is just amazing. That is a good looking cookie, I'm telling you what. And it survived. It's not all beat up. I'm going to get a bite of this guy. That is really sweet raspberry jam in between two firm shortbread cookies that are not crunchy, but they're firm enough to where they held together in the packaging. That's amazing. The shortbread is really buttery, absolutely yummy. The jam is great. This whole breakfast has just been a super win. I really hope this day keeps going like this, because if it does, I'm going to be one happy cat. This ration so far has been a complete hit. This is great. You know I had to try it. A little sweet and condensed with the apricot. I'm loving this toothpaste tube of sweetened condensed milk. That's such a great idea. Look at that guy. Little apricot cobbler going on. Huh. Tell you what, that sweetened condensed milk is such a great idea. Completely changed the whole dynamic of that simple cracker and jam. Well, guys, I gotta tell you, breakfast has been a little on the sweet side, but absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to lunch. In about 3 or 4 hours or so, I'll be back. We'll get some lunch out onto the tray. Today is definitely one of those days that I'm going to have to move this ass, because this is going to be a lot of calories. I'll see you guys at lunch. Well, welcome back to lunch, everybody. As you can see, we've got a ton of stuff out on the tray here. It took me a little while to figure out what I was going to have for lunch, because quite honestly, this ration is just chock full of food and all kinds of different things. So we're going to be checking out this multigrain bread, some tuna, which I'm not super excited about. We're going to check out that processed cheese. We're going to rock it out with a raspberry all-fruit bar. We're going to check out some M&Ms. I'm even going to have Vegemite. This is going to be my first ever experience with Vegemite. We've all, well, if you're of a certain age, you heard that whole Vegemite sandwich song. This is going to be my first experience with the stuff. I sang that song a lot when I was younger, but damn if I've ever eaten it in real life. We're going to check out that beef stew because I really wanted something different for dinner. Hopefully this beef stew is pretty good. We've got another isotonic, and we've got some coffee and creamer. Quite frankly, I'm really excited for lunch because breakfast was rocking. Let's get into it. So first, we're going to get our drinks made up. Starting out with that instant coffee. You guys know me. I love me some coffee. We're going to throw caution to the wind. We're going to say to hell with that tea, and we're going to make this a nice, sweet, creamy cup of coffee. Do I really need... Oh, I do have one more pack of coffee. I better save some of this cream. Uh-oh. Well, we do have some sweetened condensed milk that's still left over from breakfast. We can certainly chuck some of that in there. That is very likely. This is the lemon lime isotonic powder. And that drink mix, both of the isotonics got a bit chunky on the inside. I'm going to attribute that to heat stress just because I can't see this drink mix being bad. It's in a foil-lined plastic package. So I can't imagine it was bad. Probably just heat stress that made everything clump together. No big deal. The isotonic with breakfast was amazeballs. Yes, that looks nice. I'll tell you what, that kind of looks like sewer water. Like, the color is not very appetizing. I'm thinking the flavor is going to be a lot better. But that color is a little on the rough side. It just kind of looks like something you would, I don't know, like maybe like grass clipping juice or something. Like when you mow the lawn and you get a big, never mind. You know what? I'm just going to treat myself a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of this sweetened condensed in there. It's lunchtime. Why not? You know, I don't need any reason. There's no excuse. There doesn't need to be one because it's here. That's why. I'm going to get a taste of that coffee. Smells excellent. And that's really good. It's a nice, robust, strong cup of coffee. That's great Ration coffee. So there were no flameless Ration heaters or Esbit stoves or anything in the Ration, so I'm assuming that would be issued separately to a soldier. We're going to go ahead and grab one of the many Esbit stoves that are laying around this joint. We're going to get our trusty canteen cup. And there's quite a few packages of Esbit tablets laying around this place. And those tablets just stink. Literally like dead fish out of the ocean. They're just rough. Although there wasn't an Esbit stove included, we do have a bunch of matches that came with this Ration. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some matches to light up this Esbit stove to get our main heating up. I figured it would just be more fun that way. Always put the lid back on before you strike your matches. It's not too bad. Let's try one of those windproof matches just to see what that looks like. That one didn't look like it did all that great. That match just kind of went out. Yep, nothing. Let's try one of these guys. Well, that wasn't great, so now I just have to hold onto the flammable portion. There we go. Let's lay that across both fuel tabs, see if we can get them going with one single match. That definitely seems to have done the trick, so hopefully that gets it roaring. And we're going to get our hearty beef stew out here. Get that into our mess cup here. That looks pretty interesting. Definitely some colorful veggies in there. So I'm sure that is going to take off here real soon. So let's get our bread out. This is interesting packaging on this. Prepared Foods of New Zealand. Look at that. That actually looks like multigrain bread. It doesn't smell hateful for a shelf-stable bread, I have to admit. Got lots of grains in it. I can't imagine it would be as long-lasting as the regular white. Like, usually the grains in there will allow it to go bad faster. But that really is a good-looking piece of shelf-stable bread. Break out these M&Ms. I'm sure there's not much to see with these guys. You know what? And I think the heat stress is definitely what happened to those drink mixes, because these look a little heat stressed. That's okay. I'm sure they're still perfectly edible. And we got this fruit bar. That absolutely smells amazing. I can't wait to try that. That smells absolutely great. Like, hot. I'm really looking forward to that. And that's why Ration Nerd doesn't have any hair on his hands. Tuna. We're going to get the tuna out onto the tray. You guys know me and the seafood, but tuna's not bad. I can live with it. Tell you what, you gotta love an Esbit stove. I mean, in no time flat, you can take something from cold to crazy, crazy piping hot. I literally just lost a hair on my thumb. That's okay though. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. This has been an excellent ration so far. Knuckle hair be damned. Let's get this cheese out on the tray. We'll grab old Fred here. See if old Fred can help us open this cheese up. Just as easy as you like. Look at that guy. Look at that little tiny can of cheese. That's excellent. Thanks, Fred. Alright, that is definitely nice and hot. Starting to burn on the bottom a little bit. We're going to get him out of there before any of that badness happens. Alright, while it's still nice and hot, let's get a little taste of this beef stew. And it's really good. I mean, it's not crazy good. I mean, it's kind of how you would normally feel about beef stew. They came out of a can. This is definitely a higher tier. It's not like your El Cheapo can of beef stew. So you can see you have some decent sized pieces of beef with fat still attached. That's always nice. These little potato dices, some green pepper. We have some onions floating around in there, which is really nice. Red peppers. There's a pea or two floating around in here. Looks like we got some carrot dices in there. So all the veggies are cut up pretty small, but they all have a nice distinct flavor. A little bit of salt and pepper could always help the situation. That's what we're going to do. Now, if you're so inclined, of course, there's Tabasco sauce that comes with the ration. That's not really a thing for me, but if it is for you, that could certainly jazz this up quite a bit if you were into Tabasco sauce. It is nice that they give you so many options. Let's give that a bite now that we've added the salt and pepper. Get a good old healthy bite. Alright. Oh yeah. The salt and pepper really did wonders for this beef stew. Again, it's just beef stew, but it's good beef stew. You know, there being 250 grams of it, it seems like it's a little bit of a small portion, but when you weigh that against the overall amount of food and options you get in this ration, I feel like a 250 gram portion was probably the perfect size. Well, I also have to revise my opinion of the beef stew, because I am just sitting here smashing it, so it's not like I'm pausing to try anything else. I do want to eat it while it's hot. This is actually pretty good. The one thing about the beef stew, having the cuts of beef in it that it does, is that it leaves the beef with a lot of texture. So it also lets you know that it's real meat and it's not processed, because that's certainly not processed meat. I mean, other than the fact that it was put in a retort pouch, this isn't processed beef. This is just real beef. So I'm thinking, I didn't give the beef stew nearly enough credit. That was actually really good. Like, I just kind of just stuffed it all in my face. 250 gram portion, that's not hard. But like I said, there's so many other things to go with this ration that a 250 gram portion is absolutely cool, because we still have a lot of food sitting here that we have to tackle for lunch. So I'm going to get a bite of this bread on its own. Get you guys a nice little cross section of that. Although I do think this looks much better than the shelf-stable bread that I'm accustomed to seeing. It still has that shelf-stable bread smell about it. That's not a totally horrible thing. Just the stabilizers they put in there just gives it a smell that you just can't get rid of. It doesn't smell horrible. It just smells like shelf-stable bread. So I just want to give this a bite on its own so I can see what it tastes like by itself. It's actually really good. it certainly tastes a lot more like real bread than other shelf-stable breads that I've had. The addition of these whole grains and seeds in there absolutely help. This is leagues better than like your US MRE Bridgeford bread product. They really need to take note of this. This was actually a really palatable piece of shelf-stable bread. That's pretty awesome food technology. Doesn't smell great. Absolutely tastes good though. And we're going to get a little nibble of this very seasoned tuna. Let you guys get a peek of that. Is that your bite? It could be. Totally could be your bite. Alright, I'm not sure what those brown funky things in there are. But I guess we're just going for it. Pretty sure that's just sun-dried tomato bits. So not too bad. You know, all things considered, that tuna's not hateful. It's really flavorful. It's not high quality tuna, but that's being masked by the fact that it has so much seasoning and oil in there. So not really hateful. You know, it's not great. It has a bit of a bitter aftertaste. Maybe that's just the seasoning they put in there. I mean, not the worst seafood item I've ever had in a ration, but absolutely not the best. So, bottoms up. Gotta get a little bite of that cheese. Maybe we'll be smart and hit the cheese with a sniff check first. You know, and that smells perfectly fine. It smells like processed cheese, but that's okay. I mean, I don't think you're gonna get any cheese that is not processed to last inside of a ration like this. So let's check out that Bika processed cheese. Yeah, it definitely tastes processed, and it most certainly is. You can tell by the texture. I'm going to need another bite of that to give you a real opinion of it. But it doesn't taste like bad processed cheese. So there's processed cheese, and then there's processed cheese. Some processed cheese is pretty nasty. This one is pretty decent. That was a really good bite. The cheese pairs excellently with this bread. I mean, that's a really great ration item. Shelf-stable cheese in a can that can travel with you out into the field. That's pretty awesome. That's a great little morale booster, especially when you put it with something like this bread. The two of them pair really well together. It's like a old school cheese sandwich. That thing is rocking. So now I gotta check out some of this Vegemite. This super B vitamin for vitality is what it says. I absolutely love these little toothpaste tubes. I really wish we would incorporate stuff like this into US MREs. It just gives me the giggles. It's awesome. You know, having that sweetened condensed is an option that you can use throughout the day, and having it in this tube and the Vegemite, of course I'm not really sure if I'm going to be happy about this yet, but having items like this inside of a tube means they're just reusable throughout the entire day. You can sweeten your coffee, you could sweeten anything or Vegemite it, whatever this is going to taste like. Bottom line is, seriously. Bottom line is, whatever that you put in these little mini toothpaste tubes is a great idea for a ration. Makes it portable, durable, and reusable throughout the course of a day. I really wish we would incorporate some of these into US MREs. Pop that bad boy open. That's just so great. So I guess I'm going to have to get a little nibble of this Vegemite on my own. Anybody that's had this before, you might be laughing at me right now because I have absolutely no clue what I'm getting into. I have a friend of mine who's into like plant-based stuff and he loves this stuff, and I can't remember what he told me this is supposed to taste like, so just kind of going into this blind, get a little taste of the Vegemite. I don't know if this is the way to do it. Probably not, but we're going to taste it anyway. That's kind of disgusting. I mean, let's try it with some bread. You know, it's very bitter. It has kind of like a fermented grain flavor. Almost like a super extremely bitter beer. It's very, very hard to describe. It's super salty. When it hits your mouth, you can just kind of feel it. If you ever had something that feels like it races around or zings around inside of your mouth, it's exactly what this stuff does. So I'm really not sure what I'm even supposed to be tasting here. Yeast extract. Well, that would make sense why it kind of has that sour beer taste to it. Maybe this just isn't my thing. Let me try it with some bread, just so I can make sure I'm not being just overly judgmental. I was kind of looking forward to this. I've never had it before. A little bit of Vegemite on bread. It looks kind of, I don't know, it looks kind of like chocolate sauce. Maybe that's one of the things that's messing with my head. Oh. Okay. Oh. Wow. Oh. That's so nasty. That's an acquired taste right there. Like, you know, he just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. Did he smile and give you a Vegemite sandwich because he didn't like you? Oh. I'm just going to set that over there because it looks cool. You just stay over there. I'll stay over here. We'll be fine. That is not for me. That is not a flavor profile I can get behind. Maybe it's chock full of B vitamins and really good for you. Like if I were suffering for vitamin B, I don't know how much of that I could put down. It just leaves a really nasty taste in your mouth. It is absolutely time for some of this lemon lime isotonic to wash that nasty, sour, skunky beer taste out of my mouth. That's really what that tastes like to me. It tastes like skunky beer. Like concentrated skunky beer paste. Oh, thank you, Mr. Lemon Lime Drink. That is really good. Nice and sweet. Doesn't taste natural in any way, shape, or form. But that's about 5 times better than a lemon lime Gatorade. That actually tastes really good. Probably mixed up a little strong, but that's really okay because it's pretty amazing. This thing absolutely smells amazing. That guy. That looks good. Nice and chewy. It's a little tough. That smell, though, it is an excellent raspberry smell. Absolutely amazing. That right there. That reminds you of a raspberry flavored fruit roll-up, but in the most absolutely natural way. This doesn't taste like it has a lot of artificial flavors or artificial ingredients. And quite honestly, as good as this thing tastes, I doubt it has too many artificial ingredients. And I don't even want to know. This thing has an amazing raspberry flavor, really chewy, nice and sweet. This is just a really, really excellent ration item. I wish they'd have put 3 in there, one of those for each meal. Those are amazing. Let's check out these M&Ms. Let's have a little bit of a weird, greasy feeling to them. Maybe that's just powdery from some of them cracking open because they've been heat stressed. That is exactly what's going on here. Some of these have bloomed from heat stress. And you know, they're still edible. They're not bad. If you've ever had an old bloomed M&M, that's exactly what happened to these guys. They're not bad, and they certainly won't make you sick. They do have a little bit of a different taste than what you're accustomed to out of a normal bag of M&Ms, because you're probably smart, and you're not eating them after they've bloomed and expired, but these guys, they're still edible. I'll tell you what, though. See, this is the part. I just absolutely adore these toothpaste tubes. These are the best. Like, we're going to hook our raspberry bar up over here. We're going to get like a really cool bite of this raspberry bar with a little bit of sweet and condensed on there, like raspberry cream. This stuff is such a great idea. All right, let's give that a try. A little bit of sweet and condensed on there. That was like a raspberry cream bar. That was amazing. Nothing wrong with some sweet and condensed hanging around. So wrapping up lunch, let's check out this Mentos sugar-free mint gum. Those look pretty decent. You know? Wow. Is that gum? That gum is like a sneaky boxer's uppercut. Like, it just kind of slides in and gives you a little taste, and then just goes from like a soft mint flavor and just explodes into this crazy, really powerful mint flavor. Great for cleaning up your face hole, getting the funkiness out of your mouth. That is really good gum. So while we're at it, we'll check out one of these hand sanitizing wipes here before we wrap up lunch. Ooh, that one is bone dry. Okay, let's try a different one. Oh, this one is wet. Well, we had one dry out, you know, that's just tough luck. I'm sure that package coming from Australia, which it did come from Australia, I'm sure it was not handled gently by every person that touched it, so, you know, you gotta forgive a little bit. This is actually, for its size, that's a pretty stretchable little towelette. Oh, just really smells like alcohol, just straight alcohol. I made the mistake of taking a big sniff of that. Whew, that made my eyes water. On a pretty rigid little towel, but it's not really big enough to do much else with except for maybe clean up just your fingers, maybe your whole hand, maybe half a hand. All right, guys, well, that was lunch. I'm absolutely going to eat the rest of that raspberry bar. I'm going to munch on some of these mildly bloomed M&Ms. So it doesn't bother me very much. I'm going to leave the tuna as is. We're not going to revisit that Vegemite. That's not my jam. I have a vegan friend of mine. They're going to get that Vegemite. See you guys at dinner time. Welcome back to dinner, everybody. This is looking good. We still have some condiments to add to everything. We're going to use this Esbit stove again to heat up the main. So we'll start with making up that tea. And we're going to get this protein drink going. I'm feeling I'll be stirring this thing like crazy while I'm stirring the main. So this calls for about 250 milliliters of water. And I was incorrect. I do not have a coffee left over, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this creamer right in the shake. There's not a lot of it left. Maybe it'll just add a little extra creamy flavor to that coffee-flavored protein shake, which I'm kind of looking forward to and I'm kind of apprehensive with at the same time. That's going to be a lot of fun to mix up, I can tell you that right now. So we'll get started and we will revisit this whole stirring process as we're getting everything else made up for dinner. You know, that actually looks like a really extremely creamy cup of coffee. We're going to do up these mashed potatoes right here in the tray. It says add 250 milliliters of water. Those are some nice looking instant mashed potatoes. So we're going to get our nifty matches back out and we are going to get our Esbit stove rocking so we can get this main heating up. Always put the lid back on so your ration table does not burst into flames. That would be bad. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get those Esbit tablets lit with the regular matches, but they paid off this time. So we'll get a little stir on these extremely thick mashed potatoes. I think they're going to need a little bit more water. Maybe my estimation of 250 mils was really under the mark. That's like mashed potato cement right there. Not the easiest thing to mix up in the tray, but I need the canteen cup to heat up the main, so I'm looking forward to trying this lamb and tomato sambal. I have never had this before. I have no clue even what it is, but I do know that I like lamb. Not extremely attractive inside of the canteen cup cold, but hopefully that improves as it gets warm. That is definitely heating up nice on this Esbit stove. The nice thing about using the Esbit stove is everything inside of this canteen cup, it just heats up so fast, so you can get a nice hot meal really quick with an Esbit stove. So let's see what that chocolate chip cake looks like. I'm waiting to check this guy out all day, so I'm hoping this lives up to all the hype that I've been giving it. Ooh, look at that guy. It's like a big chocolate brownie. Doesn't even look like a chocolate chip cake. It just looks like a smushed brownie. Well, that chocolate definitely bloomed a little bit. No problem. Doesn't appear to be a dark chocolate. That amount of bloom on it. It's very likely a milk chocolate. That's okay though. A little bit of bloom never killed anybody. Let me get a little bite of these mashed potatoes, see if they need any salt and pepper. Those aren't bad at all, but they definitely need salt and pepper. There's little green flakes in there, some kind of seasoning I can't put my finger on. Probably just some parsley. But these aren't bad tasting mashed potatoes, just a little plain. Definitely need a little bit of help. Some salt and pepper will definitely do the trick, and then they'll be just fine. Mashed potatoes are a really good ration item, just simply because they're really high in calories. And if your soldier needs a lot of calories, or if you need a lot of calories, mashed potatoes are a great way to get those calories, and they're good mood food. That's looking pretty nice. Let's get that out onto the tray. Well, that certainly doesn't have much in the way of the texture department. We do see some small chunks of lamb in here, some small vegetables floating around in here. Looks like some fat and connective tissue, which is always yummy. In this tomato sauce, there is a good bit of fat in here, which is nice. Let's give this a taste just by itself. See what this Let's give this a taste by itself and see what this lamb and tomato sambal has to offer. Looking pretty good. That doesn't look like much, but it actually tastes really good. It has a little bit of heat at the end of it. The lamb is nice and soft. Definitely tastes like lamb, which is refreshing to be able to taste the difference between the lamb and the beef. Some ration items, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what meat you're getting. You can definitely taste the lamb in this, which is nice. If you like lamb, you will definitely be pleasantly surprised by this. And this needs a little bit of salt and pepper for my taste. Yeah, I definitely think saving the mashed potatoes to go with this is the jam. It is definitely the way to go. Well, that's absolutely perfect. Salt and pepper really brought those flavors out. This is an excellent main. It really doesn't look like much. This is very tasty, very savory. The tomato flavor in here really doesn't stand out. It certainly has this creamy base to it, which is really nice, but it's not a pronounced tomato flavor. I mean, there's obviously tomatoes in it, but it's not the dominant flavor. The dominant flavor is kind of like a very extremely mild curry seasoning. And the lamb, this is a really unique, really good main, something I've never had before. So that always makes it a lot more fun. But I can certainly say I would be happy, definitely pleased with this combination of the mashed potatoes and the sambal, and that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to get a big old scoop of these mashed potatoes and just kind of dump it right in here, because I think this is absolutely the pair, the sambal and the mashed potatoes together. I think that's going to be a good bite. Let's check it out. Absolutely. Those creamy mashed potatoes. I mean, they're just instant mashed potatoes, but they're a really good quality instant mash. And they go really well with this lamb and tomato sambal. It's a really good combination. It's just really hearty, good mood food. I'm really glad I saved this for dinner. This was definitely way better than the beef stew. Not that that was bad. This is just a lot more interesting and a lot more tasty. Really unique flavor. Extremely well done, especially for a ration. I mean, you could probably pick this up at a restaurant and not know the difference between what they serve you at a restaurant. Of course, maybe the lamb would be larger. The lamb's chunks in it would be larger. Otherwise, you would never know this came out of a retort pouch. This is really good. It's just a really savory combination. The pieces of lamb are nice and tender, and the fat and connective tissue from the lamb that's left in here is extremely tasty. I think I really enjoy getting a bite of it. Like that little hunk of connective tissue on the end of the mashed potatoes right there. That's a tasty bite. I don't even want to talk about this. I just want to eat it. Kind of like breakfast. You know you're into something really good when you kind of lose your train of thought and you're no longer talking about it. You're just eating it. And this main being in a retort pouch, and then these mashed potatoes also being in a retort pouch, I don't see why we couldn't do something like this in a US MRE. This is really satisfying. Good mood food. Our guys could use something like this too. And this seems like a no-brainer. If it wouldn't be so ridiculous, I would stick my face down there and lick the rest of this stuff out of the tray. This lamb and tomato sambal, along with these mashed potatoes, are probably one of the best ration main combinations I've had to date. This was amazing, completely lived up to all the hype that I gave it. I was really excited about this ration, and that excitement paid off because this was an excellent main. This entire ration, except for the Vegemite, has been pretty amazing, so let's just keep it moving. Let's test out a bite of this extremely bloomed chocolate, but no big deal. To be honest, I'm a dark chocolate fan, but as far as milk chocolate goes, especially milk chocolate that comes in a ration and has some heat stress on it, that's a pretty darn good piece of chocolate. It's a little overly sweet for me, which is probably why I like dark chocolate better than milk chocolate, but all things considered, that's a good piece of chocolate. All right, down the hatch. That's not that bad. It doesn't have a extreme coffee flavor. It actually tastes more like a malt with just a tiny aftertaste of coffee. If you weren't a coffee drinker, you'd be okay with that, because to be quite honest, I'm a little disappointed it doesn't taste more like coffee, but it does kind of taste like a malt shake. It's really not bad. It certainly doesn't have that bitter, nasty protein aftertaste that a lot of protein shakes do. That's actually really well done. Mildly sweet, very creamy, extremely easy to drink. That's a great ration item as well. Now we're going to get a bite of this chocolate chip cake. I have a feeling this is about to get some icing, but we're going to get a little, maybe that's a little bit too small of a bite. This is very thick, kind of spongy and dense. Obviously very dark in color, which certainly is not a bad thing. It does have an artificial chocolate smell, I will say that. It is a shelf-stable product, so that's to be expected. Has that glossy sheen on the outside like a lot of shelf-stable bread or dessert items have. Let's give it a bite, see what it's about. As far as shelf-stable dessert items goes, that's pretty awesome. It's very chocolatey. It's not overly sweet. Once you start to chew it, it has a creamy texture. That's a really interesting ration cake item. That's actually really good. I was a little deceived. I thought it was going to come out like a light tan color, kind of like a chocolate chip cookie. Not so much. This thing is just completely chocolate all the way throughout. This is definitely interesting. But we have this awesome tube of sweetened condensed, and we absolutely have to try that with some sweetened condensed milk icing. That's going to be an epic addition to this little cake here. I really wish I knew where to buy, if there was a place that sold sweetened condensed milk in these little tubes. I don't know. I would just buy them just for the novelty of having like a travel size sweetened condensed milk just to carry with you in case something sucked really bad. You could whip out your sweetened condensed milk and just juice it up a little bit. This is the best idea. This is absolutely excellent. Let's get a bite of this chocolate cake now that we have some icing on there. That is a perfect, absolutely perfect combination. It doesn't get any better than that. Sweetened condensed milk just adds that dessert level of sweetness to this cake that you might be looking for. And if you like sweetened condensed milk at all, you would love this. This is a great combination. Clean the palate with a little bit of this unsweetened tea. You know, this Bell brand tea is really good. I mean, it's a standard tea, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a decent quality. So now we're going to figure out why in the hell, or what in the hell, Musk Lifesavers are. I have no clue. So this is going to be my first experience with them. I'm really curious, like, what exactly is Musk flavor? Why is it in a Lifesaver? What were you thinking? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be amazing. I hope so. All right, well, apparently they're all the same flavor because they're all this pink color here. Let's give that a shot. Oh, you know, I'm not sure what that's supposed to taste like. All I know is that this literally has the combination of flavors of a coat closet and grandma's perfume, and I just can't do it anymore. Like, I tried to give it a chance. I really did. That is certainly an acquired flavor. Like, it's got a, like, literally a sweet coat closet and grandma's perfume. Those are the first things that come to mind. I mean, it's sweet. It's something to do. This flavor must be a thing in Australia. It's certainly not a thing here, and I'm thankful for it. Some flavors in other countries are just something people grow up with, and that is definitely this whole musk flavor. I'm not sure why anybody would like that flavor, but hey, I'm not from Australia, so who am I to say? They're just not for me. That's okay. We're really looking at 2 items, maybe 3, in this entire 24-hour ration. The Vegemite was not for me at all. That's not my flavor. Licking the bottom of a beer barrel is not for me. And Grandma's coat closet is certainly not a flavor for me. The third item in the ration that wasn't great was the tuna, but quite honestly, that was completely acceptable and completely edible. Whereas the Vegemite and the Musk Lifesavers, just not for this guy. Well, everybody, thank you for joining me here on Ration Nerd. This has been an Australian 24-hour CR1M. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys come back next time and see what else I'm getting out here on the ration table. I'm having a blast talking to you guys. You guys are the ones that make this worth it. It is a lot of fun. I'm still having a good time. This was an epic, awesome ration. Actually worth the money I paid for it this time. That's completely bitchin'. I will see you guys back here next time on Ration Nerd. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, eat 'em up.